thank you guys so much for coming. I know it's kind of like the weather's a little iffy outside, so we really appreciate you being here. So I guess I'll tell you a little bit about my upcoming book. My name is Marie Lou, and I'm used to writing. I wrote like a science fiction series and a fantasy series, and now I'm kind of going back to science fiction, which has been really fun for me. So Warcross is very near future science fiction. So it's about 10 years into our future. Like, that's how I'm seeing it. And it's about this girl named Mika Chen, who is 18 years old and living in New York City on her own. And she's kind of struggling to get by. She works as a bounty hunter, and what her job entails is that she goes out and catches people who are gambling illegally on a game called Warcross, which is a game that's kind of taken the world by storm. Like, everybody plays this game, they're obsessed with it, and so that's her job. But it's not like a steady pay or anything. She only gets paid if she actually manages to hunt someone down. So she's struggling to get by, and about to get kicked out of her apartment and kind of down on her luck, when one day she gets a call from the mysterious young billionaire who created this game. His name is Hideo Tanaka, and he is 21 years old, like this genius that created everything. And she accidentally does something that catches his eye. So he calls her out of the blue one day and is just like, I have a job for you. So suddenly her life is turned upside down, and she is whisked away to Tokyo to participate in things that are related to Warcross and like the huge cult following that Warcross has, and gets swept away in all of the stuff that goes along with it. So it's a little bit thriller, a little bit mystery, and I just wanted to have a lot of fun with the story. I originally wrote it as like kind of some therapy from writing the Young Elites, because the Young Elites is so dark and so intense that I needed to write something fun on the side to clear my head. So that was where Warcross originally came from. And it has a lot of me in it. Like, all of my books have some of me in it, but this book particularly does. Like, my dog makes an appearance in it for like 2 seconds. So I have a corgi, so the corgi just like walks by for a second and just like never comes back again. So he's in there. And so there's a lot of bits of myself in it. Before I became a full-time writer, I worked in the video game industry, so there's a lot of like little hidden anecdotes from my time there, hidden in the book, and I had a lot of fun putting that in too. And it's just kind of like an ode to all of my favorite things. So I hope you guys will like it if you get a chance to read it. It's book 1 of a duology, so I'm on book 2 right now, and I'm really hoping that it stays a duology. I can never actually be sure, but that's the hope. So thank you guys so much.
Okay. Yeah. First and most important question: are you still a gamer?
Am I still a gamer? I am, although I don't play as much as I used to anymore. Yeah.
What are your favorite current games?
My favorite current games. I'm starting to play Overwatch a little bit, and I'm really enjoying it.
My husband works for Blizzard.
Oh, really?
And that's
oh my God.
such a massive game for them.
Blizzard just knocks it out of the park every time. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, that's like their hot thing now. They're
so hot. Yeah.
They're what's your favorite like all-time game or couple?
All-time game. Oh, it's so hard. It's like picking my favorite book.
I know.
But I'm gonna have to give 3. So the first game I ever played was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Sega Genesis. Yeah, and I was obsessed with that game. Like, my parents had to confiscate my Sega Genesis because of that game. Yeah, so I have to put that one on. Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood is another, I played that game into the ground. Like, I got everything. It was like 100% complete. I went to every corner of that world. I adored it, which kind of disturbs me because all you do is assassinate people. But that was actually the inspiration for the Young Elites. Because it's set in Renaissance era Italy, and so I got the idea for like that setting for the Young Elites from it. And I love this game called Journey. It's an indie game. Yeah, have you played it before?
My husband, so he's like a master gamer. So
okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. Where it's a short game. It's like 2 hours long. You can play through it, but it's beautiful. It's like the Oscars of games, I guess. Yeah, it's just like there's no words in it spoken, just beautiful music, and you have to kind of figure out how to get to the end. And I played it through twice, and I sobbed my eyes out twice at the end. I can't deal with it. But it's amazing. Yeah, so those are the 3. I could keep going, but
I know.
in the same time.
Along the same line, Emeka lives in a world in which the virtual world has essentially been taken over the real world.
Yeah.
Do you see our current society heading in that direction?
I think we haven't gotten the right device yet. I think that we're kind of in that early stage, with the bricks strapped to your face thing, where you can see the potential of it. Like the first time I ever put on goggles in VR, I was like, if we can get to the point where you just put on a thin pair of glasses or contact lenses, this will take over the world. But we're not quite there yet, so I wanted to create a device that was that for Warcross. I feel like it's very much like that moment right before the smartphone came out, where we were just on this like edge of the world changing because of this one device, and then all of a sudden the iPhone came out, and now our lives are like, I'm attached at the hip to my phone. I'm like, if I don't have it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. So I feel like if we can get that one device, we'll flip. And I'm just curious to see if we're ever able to do that. But I could see that happening, and I think the more realistic one is actually not virtual reality, but augmented reality. Yeah. And augmented reality is like if you've played like Pokemon Go, it's like where you see like virtual stuff layered over the real world. That I think is truly what's going to change everything. So I had a lot of fun playing with that in Warcross too, because you can imagine just going down the street and seeing like all these things that are not actually there, but like being able to talk to somebody in a different language and just seeing like the translation like right below their head, being able to communicate with people easily, or walking down the street, you'll see like real people, real virtual people who are like modeling, like Brad Pitt's like, by this
If we
watch.
do that, the question is if we then like lose the ability to learn other languages and
Exactly.
things like that.
There's
because
always
we don't need it
ramifications.
anymore.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because there's things that, virtual reality can never replace reality. And augmented reality is just that. It's augmented, but it's not actually reality. And there's some chilling, consequences to that too, as with like all technology, and I feel like with augmented, I read this article about like the broken glass theory, where like if you walk down your city streets and you see that the streets are broken and the neighborhood's poor, you don't tend to take care of it. And so I was thinking about that, like if you were to like imagine a society where if you didn't want to see homeless people in the street, you can delete it. And I find that incredibly chilling to think about. Do you watch the show Black Mirror?
Yeah, so when you mentioned that, I thought of Black Mirror.
Yeah, I find Black Mirror is like the most terrifying show to me ever. It gives me nightmares just because of stuff like that. Where you're
Record and delete, like,
yes.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So do you explore any
Yes.
of those ramifications in this, or does it stay pretty fun?
It's mostly fun. There's some unsettling things here and there about it. I feel like it's impossible not to think about that stuff with technology, because I feel like technology is something that, especially now, we're in this like technological infancy where I'm not sure if our morality is progressing at the same rate as the actual innovations. Like we invent these amazing things at like lightning speed, but everything else is struggling to catch up with it, which is, like we have like, so that's why we have this world of like cybercrime and hacking and like the dark web, like this world where like the internet you can't see scares the crap out of me. Yeah, like the dark web scares the crap out of me. And it's in Warcross too. Like it's now it's virtual reality. It's the dark world, which is the world that you can't see unless you know how to get there. Like all these sites that exist, this entire internet that exists underneath the actual internet, where all the bad stuff happens. So it's really interesting and scary to think about. There's a lot of stuff to explore.
Happier, right? Happier, right?
But this is a happier version. Yeah, there's some like
I'm
but it's not.
with you.
Honestly, it's
like
It was my young Elise therapy, so it's not nearly. It's the least dark of all of my books.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it. Yeah.
I
Book
didn't
two
like the
maybe
darkness.
slightly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Research. Chelsea's
All right.
kids.
I think we're getting